Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. This is going live on YouTube. You are in the right place. Thank you for joining us on YouTube Live today. For those of you who aren't already participating, we are using Slido today for some Q&A. So if you see that QR code on your screen right now, or some of you have seen the link in the live chat, feel free to join us. Let us know what questions you guys have. We're going to be going through a lot of content today, so hopefully we answer those questions during today's workshop. But if we don't, we'll have some Q&A at the end. So keep those questions coming. If you see any questions you like, start upvoting and we'll get right to it. And I'm sure some of you are already aware of this since you're here, but we do have some workshops that we have, some internal ones and some more live streams. To stay in the loop on all of that, I want to introduce you guys to youtube.com/space/online. That's where you'll see all the virtual workshops we have, all the virtual offerings we have, the live streams, the in-house workshops for those who are available. If any of you are familiar with the YouTube Spaces, a lot of the content we have in person is now virtual, so you can find it on that website. And just a little bit about the Spaces. Before COVID and when we're back, we operate 7 studios in 6 countries to provide everything you need for your creative process. This includes production resources like sound stages, cameras, lights, editing suites, to workshops and community events that inspire to provide opportunities to meet fellow content creators and artists just like yourself. But in the meantime, while we're doing this virtually, we're trying to offer all of that to you just like today. For any other content that you guys are looking for, if you don't have your question answered today, or if something comes up in the meantime, I want to let you guys know that the YouTube Creator Academy is a resource for you. Everything from production basics, DIY, setting up your home for audio or video, anything like that. Also to YouTube basics, growing your audience, developing your channel. Those resources can be found at the Creator Academy. Can't recommend that enough. But for today's Going Live workshop, I want to introduce you to today's instructors. Briefly, my name is Samir. If you guys are a regular at the YouTube Space LA, you might recognize me. And today I am joined by Alex, Dylan, Chris, and Hugo. Hope everyone's having a great morning or afternoon, wherever they're joining us from. And we're just going to jump right into this. I'm going to pass it on to Alex now.
All right, thanks, Samir. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so we're just going to get started here. So hopefully by the end of this presentation, you guys will have learned about going live on YouTube, the various aspects involved in it. We'll be covering the importance of going live, how to get started, best practices you can follow to engage with your audience and fans. We'll also touch upon alternative monetization revenue as it pertains to the live format later on in this presentation. As Samir said, if you have any questions, drop them in that Slido link provided in the chat, and then Samir's going to be asking us your questions. All right, so why go live? So live is ideal in the sense that it gives you this unique opportunity to interact directly and instantly with your fans. A great example of a channel that practices live streaming frequently are the Roots. So choosing to do a live stream versus uploading a regular VOD, especially in this sense where they do concerts, gives the performance just a more authentic feel. They even managed to adapt to the current climate that we find ourselves in by creating a live stream show that not only showcases talented artists other than themselves, but also helps fundraise for important and topical charities that are out there today. So live streaming does differ from VOD, which is video on demand, which I'm sure many of you are much more accustomed to. But with the live format, you're using YouTube's platform tools to help create content that takes significantly less time to produce. It essentially unlocks a whole other side of the format and enables you to get more creative with your content. So if we look at a channel like Sarah Beth Yoga, who has upwards of 1.1 million subscribers, she ultimately saw herself doubling her weekly content by going live. This is because she would spend 2 to 3 hours to produce a live stream, opposed to the average 10 to 15 hours, which I'm sure a lot of you can attest to that as well, to create an on-demand video. Today, as you know, more and more people are turning to watch live streams and live content because they want to have some form of entertainment and interaction to help alleviate this whole separation that we're all experiencing. In that sense, going live does allow you to get closer to your community, especially in these times. It allows your audience to communicate with you and others about your content, what's going on, discussing shared experiences, and then ultimately and hopefully creating a stronger bond to your audience. So now I'm going to pass it over to Dylan.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, as she said, I'm Dylan. I got to say, this is really weird for me. I'm used to being behind the camera, not necessarily in front of it. So this is the first time for me. But I did develop a huge respect for anybody who does this on a daily or weekly basis. But anyway, I digress. Let's get into some live formats that we see work really well on the YouTube platform. So first, we have questions and answers. So the Sakane Joles, they actually greeted individual audience members by name, called them out, asked them questions that were actually directed to them, which in turn actually really strengthened their bond with their creator community. Second, we have promo or community gathering. So Superwoman or Lily Singh, depending on where you know her from, she actually took to live in order to have a director's commentary on her new documentary, A Trip to Unicorn Island. And by talking about things that happened while she was actually producing the film, it really opened up a new side of the documentary to her fans. And then finally, we see real-time response. So in today's ever-changing world, we really never know what's going to happen next. So live opens up a world where you aren't married to that VOD content that all of you can attest to can take so long to produce. It may take you a month to shoot it, 2 to 3 weeks to actually edit it. And by the time you actually upload it to YouTube, so many things have happened in the world that you just could not touch in that video. So if you look to the deck now, you can see that by utilizing live, the Young Turks actually were able to be one of the first videos uploaded to the internet that actually had the result of Brexit. Because of this, they really massively they benefited from search traffic from Google and so many other search engines. But that's just really one part of real-time response. There's another way that you can utilize real-time response, and that's actually pivoting your content to something that you had planned to something completely different. So for example, H, who is a musician, he actually had planned a live stream in order to perform his new album, Polaris. In the days actually preceding this live stream, protests sprung up all around the country and even around the world. Because of this, he was able to quickly pivot his content to make it not only a performance, but an actual benefit concert that benefited the Black Lives Matter movement. So I'm sure that you noticed that in each of these examples, they were utilizing different formats. So when going live, the first step is actually to figure out which format works best for you. So if you're trying to quickly hop onto live and say what's up to your fans through a single camera format, a mobile live or a live stream via your onboard camera is going to be the way to go. But after you make that decision, you really have to assess your location or the location that you're in. If you're out and about, if you're walking around at an event, a desktop format is not going to be right for you unless you want to carry your laptop everywhere you're actually going. But if you are at home and you do have access to your desktop computer, you have a couple of decisions to make. Do you want your stream to be heavily involved with external collaborators and multiple camera angles? If so, you might want to look into actually utilizing third-party encoding software. So as you can see, there are many types of options to choose from, and we will touch on all of them a little bit later on in detail. But for now, I'm going to toss it over to Alex so she can teach you how to get started with your mobile device.
Thanks, Dylan. All right, so let's go over how live streaming via mobile device or desktop differ. So with mobile live streaming, you have the ability to engage with your audience in a more immediate way. For starters, you can go live from nearly any type of device using the main YouTube app. You can engage with your viewers in the moment using real-time chat. And after your stream is over, you have the ability to post footage from the stream directly to your YouTube channel. You can also monetize live streams with ads and super chats, which we're going to touch on a little bit later in the presentation. And finally, with mobile live streaming, you can share your live stream links on social media. Now I'm going to pass it right back to Dylan, and he's going to go over desktop live streaming.
Yes, so meanwhile, desktop streaming, this allows for more complex scenes and third-party integration. So you can actually choose between going live via your webcam or, like I said, using third-party encoding software. I promise we're going to touch on that a little bit later on in the deck. But using encoding software really opens up a new world. You can actually preview your stream before you go live. You can have backup redundancy streams, and you can also start and stop your stream whenever you actually like. So this is the option that we utilize most frequently when going live at the space. It gives us the ability to actually create 3 streams for one official stream that will live on our page for however long we'd like. So our first stream, this is our network connectivity test. So we want to make sure that our network is up and running and that we are hitting the platform the way that we'd like. Second, our second stream, this is our sights and sounds test. So this is where we make sure that all of our camera inputs, all of our microphone inputs, and any other inputs that we have are sending downstream properly to the YouTube platform, and we're seeing them and hearing them the way that we intend. And then third and finally, this is our official stream that will live on our page. The stream that is going to notify all of our subscribers, all of our viewers. If anybody were to click onto our page, they'd be able to see that this stream is live. With this stream, we also host a backup redundancy stream on a separate network. Just in case our primary network were to go down for any reason, that would kick in as if nothing ever happened and no one on the other side would ever notice. But that was all for utilizing third-party encoding software. Like I said, webcam, it's a quicker, it's an easier way to actually go live. You can actually stream from your desktop via your onboard camera, or you can utilize an external webcam in tandem with a capture card. We are going to discuss this all in detail a little later on, but I'm going to toss it to Alex so she could talk you through some mobile live basics.
All right, so before we go into live basics for mobile devices, let's go over what you'll need in order to set up for your stream. So first and foremost, it is important to note that to go live on mobile, you do need 1,000 subscribers at least. But creators who do have less than that number will still be able to live stream through their desktops and webcams, which Dylan will go over right after this. You'll also have to confirm that your account is verified and you have no live stream restrictions within the last 90 days. Just be aware that this can take up to 24 hours to get your account verified, so definitely plan accordingly. One of the first things we always ask anyone that's streaming from the space is if they've gone live before. This is just to ensure that they're verified to go live and we're not going to run into any issues the same day that we're going live. All right, so now let's talk about best practices. So prepping your device. These are some small tips that can make all the difference in the success of your stream. So the first thing we're going to have you do is check your connection. If you're not on a Wi-Fi network, keep in mind that certain areas, let's say if you're doing a live stream, you go into an elevator, you're going to have significantly less mobile signal. So consider your location carefully. A good thing to keep in mind is that you're generally using about 10 megabytes of data per 1 minute of stream. Don't forget to turn on Do Not Disturb or turn on airplane mode with Wi-Fi to avoid calls coming in that would disrupt your stream. Battery life, also extremely important. Our rule of thumb is 1% of phone battery per 1 minute of stream. Make sure you're charged or use an external battery for longer streams. And lastly, while prepping your device, determine whether you want to do horizontal or vertical orientation for your stream, and then make sure you're going to lock your screen. This is going to prevent auto rotation from kicking in midstream. Now we'll move on to some audio basics. So how do we check our audio? The most important factor for good audio is your environment. So find a location with low background noise and echo. If you're on the move, be mindful of the noise and movement around you. We did get a chance to look at some of the questions that were coming in. A big one being, can you get a copyright strike on live stream? The answer to that is absolutely yes. And not only can you get a strike, it could be torn down midstream. So something that you might not even be consciously thinking about is if you're walking in public and there is copyrighted music playing in the background, that's something that could get flagged and that your stream could be torn down and you could get that strike. So definitely be mindful of that. If you're in a loud environment, an external microphone can be helpful. Lapel microphones are the best for isolating single subjects. And then thirdly, consider a windscreen. A windscreen is exactly what it sounds like. It's just minimizing wind noise. Many external microphones have them, and you can even get a small one to just plug onto your phone's microphone directly. And then let's just discuss stability. So there are 3 ideal ways to stabilize mobile live stream. The first, most basic one is just a selfie stick. So a selfie stick is going to offset weight and distance from your hand, causing a more balanced motion. Another great way to stabilize is using a gimbal. A gimbal is a battery-operated device, sometimes battery-operated. There's all different ones on the market. This is just going to reduce camera shake. And then lastly, you can even stabilize your video after it's shot. So you have the unique ability to use YouTube's digital stabilizing to make the VOD much smoother than it was initially shot. To access this, you would simply go to your editing tab in the Creator Studio. All right. 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. So now I'm going to pass it over to Dylan.
Awesome. So yeah, we will be spending a little bit more time on talking about going live via your desktop. So feel free to type in that Slido link. Any questions that you have, we'll be following them along the way. As Alex said, she answered a couple of them during her part of the presentation. But if we don't get to any of them during our presentation, we will have a Q&A at the end of our session where we will answer any of those other questions. So I know that some of these checklists, they're going to seem a little bit simple, but I cannot express to you how many times I've seen a chat fall flat or just flat out fail due to a creator not actually running through these check marks before going live. So first, you want to test your internet connection. You want to make sure that you have good upload bandwidth by speed testing your network. If you do plan on going live on Friday at 4 p.m., week in and week out, leading up to your stream, you want to make sure that you are speed testing your network on Fridays at 4 p.m. I know that all of us, we're quarantining at various locations with our significant others, with our family, with our friends, and we aren't the only ones on our network. So you want to make sure that if you plan a stream, you are going to be the only one utilizing the internet. You're not having any of your friends or family streaming movies or playing video games online. So just a general rule of thumb for definition compared to megabits per second, if you do want to stream in standard definition, you're going to need about 3 megabits per second. If you are going to opt for 720 or 1080, which is high def, you're going to need about 5 to 10 megabits per second. And if you are going to opt to stream in 4K or ultra high def, you'll need about 25 megabits per second. With that being said though, we also want you to consider your third-party software. So while YouTube does offer a comprehensive suite of tools in order to help you out on your live streaming journey, they do not, unfortunately, offer any hardware or software encoding options. There are so many encoders out there, and the best one for you really depends on your needs. Like I said, Chris is going to take that portion of the presentation in a little bit, but for now, we also want you to check your equipment. While all of these are not necessary in order to actually go live, each of them will actually help optimize your viewers' experience when watching your live stream. So if you look to the deck now, you can see that this streamer, they opted for a couple of stream enhancements. So lighting. So in this case scenario, they opted for a ring light. So ring lights or professional lighting rigs, while they do a great job making your stream look great, they sometimes are costly. But you don't necessarily need to splurge in order to have a really great looking stream. So for example, some tips that I've seen done in the past is bringing Christmas lights to your stream or some well-placed lamps from around your house to really evenly light your stream and make it look great. Then you also have to make the decision consciously if you want to go live via your onboard camera or via an external webcam in tandem with a capture card. So as you can see, this streamer actually decided to utilize an external webcam, as a lot of us are utilizing today as well. And hopefully you see the difference in quality on the stream. Also, an extra monitor. So you can see on the deck right now, this streamer actually opted for 3, may have went a little bit overboard, but you do have the ability to actually utilize an external monitor as an input to your live stream. So something cool that I've seen done in the past, I've seen creators actually watch old video uploads that they uploaded to their channel with their fans. I've seen somebody watch their first upload on YouTube ever with their chat, and they actually talked about the quality of that video then compared to the quality of the video now, or the equipment that they had then compared to the equipment that they had now. It was just a really cool and fun environment for everybody to just see the journey of a YouTuber. But right now, I just want to touch on one of our newer features that you probably are all familiar with, which is our Premiere function. So I don't want to talk about it as just a standalone, because I'm sure that all of you have familiarized yourself with this already, but I want to talk to you about how you can actually leverage your Premiere function with Live. So if all of you don't know, YouTube Premiere, it really lets you experience a new video with your fans. So it's like a movie premiere or a TV show premiere. But that's just a standalone version of it. You can actually utilize this in tandem with live. So a little bit earlier on in the deck, I talked about Lily Singh and her premiere of her documentary series, A Trip to Unicorn Island. So she actually had scheduled a premiere at the same exact time as a live stream. So she had fans head over to her live stream, and on that live stream, she had a lower third of her actual, the premiere of her video. She asked fans to open the premiere of her video as well, actually sync up with her live stream, and once she thought that she gave enough time for fans to sync up, she pulled that lower third of her premiere out. She asked the fans to actually minimize her page, and then she was actually in the background of their experience watching the premiere, and she actually gave them like a director's commentary. So not only was it a really cool thing that she did, but it also drove viewership to 2 separate videos on her page. But with that being said, I just want to make a quick note that if you do plan on having a premiere on your channel, you can only create these via your desktop computer. Anybody can consume them. You can consume them on mobile or desktop or tablet. But if you are planning to have a premiere, make sure you get to a laptop in order to create that post. So now that we have touched on all of the desktop basics, we're going to now take a look at what everybody's here for, how to actually go live on the platform. So for one, you're going to head over to your channel's homepage, which I know you're all very familiar with. And you're going to head up to the top right corner where you see this camera icon. Once you click into that, it is going to give you a drop down of 3 options. It's going to have upload video, go live, or create post. In this case scenario, we are going to click on go live. So from there, if you are a first-time streamer, it will take you to a page that looks like this. So just take note of the 3 options on the top left-hand side. So these are your stream tab, your webcam tab, and also your manage tab. We are going to talk about all of those a little bit later on. But from there, you'll have the option to either stream right now, or you can stream at a later date. In this case scenario, we are going to click on stream right now. Remember to keep in mind that this is for first-time streamers. So if you have streamed before, the workflow is going to be a little bit different. And we are going to touch on that a little later on. So you'll have 2 options once you are on this page. You can either stream via a built-in webcam or via streaming software. In this case, since it's the easier of the 2, I'm going to click on built-in webcam. So once you have selected that option, it will take you to a page that looks like this. So notice on the left-hand side now, it has automatically changed you and populated you on webcam. So from here, it is going to ask you to fill in all of your stream's associated information. So you can add the title, you could add your stream's privacy. So you have 3 options here. It's either public, private, or unlisted. So a public stream being a stream that once you go live, it's going to notify all of your subscribers. It's going to be open to any fan. So if they click on your page, they'll be able to see that you are actively streaming. A unlisted stream is maybe you are changing a lot of things in your stream. You wanted only a certain amount of people to actually view that stream and review it with you. You would actually be able to highlight that link, send it out to anybody, and they'd be able to take a look at the stream with you. Just one quick note on this. Only send that link to people that you actually trust, because anybody with the link will be able to tune into your stream. And then you also have your private option. So that's the option if you didn't want anybody to see your stream, you just wanted to do a couple of things on your own. You wanted to live stream, make sure that your lighting looked great. If you had got a new camera, that camera looks great, and you didn't want anybody to see it, that would actually live on the back end of your page and no one would ever have to see it. So in the interest of time, I'm also going to go over how to schedule a stream via your built-in webcam, and you would just do that right here. So whether you wanted to stream right now via your webcam, or if you wanted to schedule a stream, that would be in this same location right here. Once you did that, it would actually send to your Manage tab, which we are going to cover a little bit later on. From there, you then will have to say, is this made for kids? Or if you'd like to put an age restriction on your video. That meaning if you wanted to make it 18 plus or not. If you did opt to make an age restriction on your channel, There would be a disclaimer before folks entered into your stream, and they would just have to confirm that they were 18 or above. You would then also be able to add your description, and you would have to say what category your stream would fall under. Additionally, you'd also be able to, like I kept mentioning earlier on, you would choose between your onboard camera, or if you wanted to utilize an external webcam right here. You also have the option to forego your onboard microphone and have an external mic right here. So once you have done all of that, you would be able to click next. But before you do that, make sure that you actually smile because it is going to ask you to take a thumbnail photo for your live stream. So once you have done that, that thumbnail photo will actually end up right here. And then you do have the option to either retake that photo or actually upload a custom thumbnail from your laptop. Then you could head down to number 2, where you see the edit button, and that's if you made any mistakes on adding your title or your description or the time of your stream. You'd be able to enter into that edit button, and you'd be able to change any of that associated information. Once you're done with that, you could head over to number 3, which is our share button. So this is where you'll be able to get a shareable link in order to utilize on any of your social media platforms in order to actually promote your live stream. Once you have done all of that, you would be able to click on number 4, that big blue button, and actually go live. Great, so that was for your stream now for your onboard webcam. So before we actually talk about streaming via software, I wanted to take a moment here to actually talk about encoders. So I know that we keep throwing this word around, and I just wanted to take a moment to actually let you know what encoders can do. And we'll have some time to actually discuss encoders that we have utilized and which ones are YouTube Live verified. So streaming via an encoder, it really lets you do a lot more with your live stream. You can broadcast your gameplay, you can use external audio and video hardware, and you can even involve multiple cameras or external collaborators, which I know is super important during this climate. So you will need to download an encoder and proceed to connect it with a stream key to your YouTube page, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But for now, I'm going to pass it over to Chris, and he's going to take you through some YouTube Live verified encoders that he's worked with in the past.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. All right, so one thing I want to say is that, so you see our list of verified YouTube encoders. They're all really good. I really suggest that you look up and you do your research because they all have their pros and cons. It all really depends on what kind of content you're putting out there. Some are better when it comes to gaming than others, and some are good when it comes to adding audio, so or putting in effects. So with that, I want to talk about the 3 that I've used, which is OBS, Stage 10, and Wirecast. So with OBS, that's the greatest software that I think that a lot of people know about because it's free. Now with that, with OBS, you can add multiple cameras. You can add guests using third-party apps like Zoom, Skype, and you can set up different scenes or templates and go live and switch through these scenes as you go live. So if, say you want to do a 2-box, 3-box, things like that with multiple guests. So the next one is Stage 10. Stage 10 does a lot of the same things that OBS does. But the only thing about Stage 10 is that it is web-based and it's not a downloadable encoder. So what that means is that you'll be going to a specific site to access this encoder. Also with Stage 10, it does have a free option, but you get a lot more features for the paid subscription, which I think is about $20 right now. So with that, that'll add certain features like streaming to multiple platforms or adding lower thirds to your guests if you wanted to name one of your guests on your live. The third one is Wirecast. So Wirecast is a downloadable software that is a one-time fee of, I believe the starting is $600. Now, this really gives you a little more of a control room package. It's you can put an unlimited amount of cameras. So that's good. You can also add up to 7 guests within the app, so you avoid using third-party applications like Zoom, Skype, Hangouts, things like that. And one thing that really note about it is that it actually gives you more audio ability. So you can add things like EQs, delays, audio effects, which can be useful if you're like performing or you want to add certain things just to spice up your content. So yeah, those are the 3 that I've used. Now we have a special video from one of our YouTube verified encoders. Here is stage 10.
We live? Can I see comments? How does this work?
This is ultimately kind of what the internet is for, is people collaborating.
Don't be shy. It's the internet. It's easy to socialize.
Looks pretty good.
Awesome. So that was a great video. So with that preface in mind, we are now going to talk about streaming via encoding software. So the workflow, it's going to seem very similar to going live via your webcam. But first, we are going to select right now for this instance. Then we are going to select via streaming software rather than your built-in webcam, which we did earlier on. And it's going to take you to a page that's very similar to what we saw before. The only difference now being, instead of taking that, that thumbnail via your onboard camera or your external webcam, you will be able to just upload an additional thumbnail right here. So once you have done that, you'll be able to, once again, add in your title, your stream privacy, your description, what category it falls under, and then if it's made for kids, and if you would like to place an age restriction on it. So once you have done all of that, you're going to just click Save. So once you hit Save, it's going to take you to our live control room dashboard. So we are going to talk about the live control room in depth a little bit later on. But now, if you just needed to make any updates to your stream from your stream info page, you would be able to head to the top right corner, click on Edit, and it will take you back to your stream info page. You'd be able to correct anything that you'd like, the description or the title, or even add a different thumbnail, and then click Save again. So if you have streamed before, after clicking on number 1 from your YouTube homepage, you're going to click Go Live, and it's going to auto-populate you to the Stream tab. So if you head down to number 3, that's labeled right over here, you'll see that this is where it stores all the information from your previous stream. We are going to talk about that a little bit later on, but if you did need to change anything, you'd be able to head over once again to number 4, which is your Edit button. So Stream Now, both using an encoder and also utilizing external software, it is really great. And as we talked about a little bit earlier, Live has a unique way to create content that is both reactionary and topical. The only downside with streaming now, as opposed to scheduling a stream, is that your subscribers and your fans will not know that you are actually going live until you actually go live from the platform. Once you do that, it will notify all of your fans, all of your subscribers, and they'd be able to tune into your stream. But we do have a way to combat that. If you actually want to schedule a stream for later and actually get a shareable link and promote it on all of your different socials, you would be able to do that by scheduling a stream for later. So we are going to transition now to how to actually schedule a stream for first-time streamers and also return streamers. So hopefully by now, this screen grab is starting to look familiar to everybody. So if you are a first-time streamer, instead of clicking on stream right now, you are going to click on stream at a later date. Once you have done that, once again, it will take you to a page that looks very familiar. And instead of clicking on built-in webcam, you are now going to click on streaming software, as we did touch on how to actually schedule a stream for later utilizing your webcam. But once you do that, you'll be prompted to insert all the same information into the stream info page. The only difference now being that you do have a time and a date that's populated right here. You'd be able to schedule it for whatever time you'd like. Once you've done that to your satisfaction, you would be able to click on Create Stream. So that's going to take you to your Manage tab. So if you are a return streamer, if you remember from earlier on in the deck, you're just going to go to your YouTube homepage. You're going to click on Go Live. Once you have clicked on Go Live, remember that it auto-populated you to your Stream tab, but instead of being on your Stream tab, you are going to navigate yourself down to the Manage tab. So once you have done that, you would be able to head over to the top right where it says Schedule Stream. You would click on that, and then it will send you to a page that looks like this. So this will give you two options. You can either, 1, create a new stream, or 2, reuse settings from a previous stream. So when you do reuse your settings, it will copy over all metadata, the thumbnail, and your stream key. So after choosing one of these two options, you're just going to follow any other prompts, and it's going to return you back to your Manage tab. So from here, you can just see that any of your scheduled streams will live here. So all of these, in this case scenario, say streaming software, but if you were to schedule any via your webcam, the type would change to webcam as well. So once you're actually ready to stream and utilize one of your created links, you would just click straight into that stream, and it will take you to a page that looks like this. So as promised, we are going to dive in a little deeper into the live control room. So this is where clicking to your stream from your Manage tab will actually leave you off. So once again, this is the back end of your stream and the place where you're actually going to monitor all of your different activity. So when you do first enter the live control room, you're just going to look at where we have labeled number 1. This is going to prompt you to actually copy and paste your stream key. So you have a couple of options here. You can either click on this eye, open up your stream key, you can highlight it, copy and paste it into your encoder. But if you are in a public place, please do not open up this button, because if anybody actually copies down that stream key, they would be able to stream to your page. So instead of doing that, whenever I'm copying a stream key, I always opt to actually click this copy button right here. That way, no one else but me will know my stream key, and there will be no errors actually transposing that into your live encoder. So once you have copied it, once you have pasted it, you should see a preview that we have labeled number 2 in the top left-hand corner. This preview will make sure that you see all of your different camera inputs, all of your microphone inputs, and it will make sure that you are actually live on the platform. Actually, make sure that you don't get nervous, because this does not mean that you are actually live for viewers to see, but it is a way to actually preview your stream. If you then head down to number 3, where you see it says excellent connection here, there are 3 things that can actually populate here. 1 being poor connection, 1 being good connection, and what we have here, which is excellent connection. So when you are streaming, you want to make sure that you are always living in that excellent connection realm. The only reason why you should ever drop down to the good connection is if maybe you were just sending a static image, or you walked away from the camera for a little bit and it was just reading the same information over and over and over again. Sometimes YouTube will register that something's wrong with the stream and that you're not getting new information, so it will fall down to that good connection. If you do ever fall into the poor connection or the good connection, if you are actively streaming, you want to make sure, like we said a little bit earlier on, that no one else is on your shared network and nobody else is using any of your bandwidth in order to do anything else. So as we talked about a little bit earlier on, you can decide using encoding software by using the same settings as a previous stream. So we actually like to call these custom stream keys. So custom stream keys, they're an awesome way to actually save time on your live streaming journey. So if you do have a habitual stream, it will give you the ability to create 1 stream key for all associated streams of that series. So a custom stream key will actually auto-populate in this drop-down menu right over here that you can see on the deck right now. So you will have a chance to actually modify the stream title and the description after it's actually created, but you will not be able to change some certain things. So let's say you had a weekly vlog and a weekly podcast, and you wanted the weekly vlog and the weekly podcast. You wanted the weekly vlogs all to look uniform. You wanted the weekly podcasts to all look uniform. You would make a custom stream key for your weekly vlogs and your weekly podcasts. You would then be able to change the title of, maybe it's titled podcast 1, podcast 2, podcast 3. You would be able to change all the thumbnails. The same thing goes for your weekly vlog. The only thing that you can't change is actually your frames per second and your bit rate. So really the look of the actual stream. So just on the topic of frames per second and bit rate, I'm going to toss it over to Chris right now so he could talk a little bit about how frames per second and bitrate can really affect the overall look of your stream.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. So yes, so a higher bit rate will accommodate a higher resolution, and a lower bit rate will accommodate a lower resolution. Bit rates should be expected to go up whenever the resolution goes up, as like more data is being processed. So for 720p resolution, you're looking at about 5,000 kilobytes per second or 5 megabytes per second. If you want to do 1080 or 4K, you're looking at anywhere from 9 to 25. So, but it's also good to note that even though with a higher bit rate, it's going to provide you with a better quality, you can also put a major strain on your hardware, which can also result in like a lag or stuttering buffering effect. So maybe try going for the lower bit rate and lower video quality to improve your quality of your stream, just so your fans aren't dealing with that lag. And with that, I think I'm handing it back to Alex.
All right, so that sort of segues into our next part, which is latency. So stream latency is the delay between your camera capturing an event and the event being displayed to the viewers. So when setting up your live stream, think about how the level of latency is going to affect your viewers. Hopefully now, as you can see on the dashboard here, you will be able to see your preview in the top left box by now. If not, this is when you would go back, check your external software, and troubleshoot. Handing it over to Chris to explain it like the true engineer that he is.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, so all right. So latency speaks to how you're moving content and the time it takes to get from one end to another. So latency can vary depending on your internet signal, and it could be anywhere from 10 milliseconds to 100 milliseconds. Now, as a broadcast engineer, as Alex just mentioned, latency, also known as lag, is something you always want to avoid or keep to a minimum. So when it comes to quality, the higher the quality, the more information that's being sent, which increases your chances of latency, or what can happen is that you'll have a higher, more latency in that video. So to avoid that, you may want to go to a lower resolution, especially when you're doing like online gaming or like anything that's dealing with fan interactions. So definitely go for the 720 over the 1080 or 4K, because that will reduce your chances. But there's also like 3 things that you can do to try to avoid that on your end. 3 things to think about is your connection type. Are you going over Wi-Fi, or are you doing Ethernet? I say the best rule of thumb is to always have a wired connection. If you can plug right into your router, best thing you can do. Distance. If you are using Wi-Fi, how far are you from that router? Because distance, especially when you have walls in between you and your router, it may end up making that signal harder to reach. Also congestion. You also have to think about how many devices do you have. Maybe you have a lot of laptops on that are also on that same connection, which may slow your connection down and increase that latency or lag. So yeah, and with that, I'll be handing it back to Alex.
All right. So as you can see on the YouTube platform, there are 3 different types of latency to choose from down there. So normal, low, and ultra low. So I'm just going to take what Chris said and tell you when's the best time to apply it to the type of stream that you're going to be doing. So normal latency. This is ideal when you don't plan to interact with your audience. This is the highest quality setting for viewers. With low latency, you have the option to slightly buffer your video for your viewers. It's important to note, though, that low latency does not support 4K. So you are going to be sacrificing the quality of your stream a bit in order to take your time reading comments and interactions within your stream before responding to them. And finally, we have ultra low latency. So this option should only be used if you don't mind increasing the chances that your viewers may buffer more. The longer the buffer makes it ideal for maximizing engagement with your audience. Also important to note here is that the setting also does not support 4K resolutions. All right. So before going live, it's important to review your chat settings. So these settings include live chat enablement. So live chat is going to be enabled by default once you make a live stream. So it's going to appear to the right of the video player when your live stream is active, as you can see on this video. However, the live chat module only exists on the YouTube watch page, so it does not follow embedded players. In addition, live chat is only available if your live stream is not made for kids. Okay, so also you can turn on slow mode. So slow mode allows you to limit how frequently each user can comment by setting a time limit between comments. The channel owner, moderators, and YouTube channel members are not affected by this limit, so they are going to continue to be able to comment as often as they want. This is a great option if you expect a high volume of users in the live chat, which can quickly become overwhelming and nearly impossible to read any of the comments. We also have keyword blocking. So consider compiling a list of words to be automatically blocked in live chat. This can be helpful if you're trying to avoid particular topics or prevent just those trolls from taking over your chat. We also have the option to hold for review. So you can have YouTube hold potentially inappropriate live chat messages if you choose to opt in. Live chat messages that our system identifies will be held for review in the chat. You have the final decision, being either the channel owner or chat moderator, on whether to show or hide these chat messages. It's going to pop up in a little box above the box to respond. It'll say allow or deny. From there, you decide whether you want that comment to be visible to everyone else. Then we have chat moderators, as I kept mentioning. You can assign moderators for all live chat sessions. Note that moderators remain on the list until they're unassigned. We strongly suggest having at least one dedicated live chat moderator for high traffic events. Moderators can interact with the audience, remove comments when appropriate, and they can also flag, hide, or put users in timeout. Back over to Dylan.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Alex. So once all these steps that you see on the deck have been completed, you are actually ready to click that big blue button in the top right-hand corner and actually go live. So just remember that the live control room, this is going to be the back end of your stream. This is where you're going to monitor all of your analytics, how many folks have tuned into your stream, how many super chats that you're going to hear a little bit about later on have been given, and just your overall stream health. But if you weren't able to actually keep up with the stream chat, as Alex was talking about, maybe there were too many messages going a mile a minute, or maybe it was just your first time streaming and you were a little nervous and weren't able to focus on streaming and looking at the chat at the same time, there are ways to actually review those after you have gone live. And that's all going to be done in your post-stream check that Alex is going to talk about right now.
All right, so we'll go into post-stream check. So you've gone live, it went great, but your job is not over yet because you're going to want to continue to promote and feature your live moments. So you can do this in a couple of different ways. For one, being creating highlights. Consider editing down some of your best live moments into more digestible clips in order to reach a broader audience. These highlight videos can act as an anchor to expose new audiences to your live streams. Another thing you can do is prolong the hype. So after the stream, you can create some kind of like FOMO with your viewers and reward viewers that were in attendance of the actual stream with recaps, inside jokes, shout outs on the community tab. You can do it via stories or also social media platforms. Continued references to these stream moments will create incentives for viewers to be present in the future live stream, and also increasing the likelihood of the people that were present to just keep coming back. Lastly, don't forget to archive appropriately. So consider creating a playlist for each of your archived streams and organize them in a sense that makes most sense for your audience, whether that's by topic or by season. Place these in playlists on your channel's homepage and promote them in highlights clips from each of the streams. All right, so creating the ever after. So once you've ended your stream, go to your YouTube Studio dashboard and then go to the videos tab. You should see two tabs there, uploads and live. Live is obviously where you're going to be finding your stream. It's here that you can be creating those highlights. You can also rewatch the live stream, publish it as an upload, and even edit it if you need to. Just remember that if you are editing your live stream directly within the YouTube Creator Studio, you are going to lose the live chat display. So if that live chat display is important to you, like Dylan was talking about, if you are not able to get back to some fan questions and you want to do a follow-up video where you're addressing them, make sure you are keeping that live chat option intact. Here you can also add end cards, link to other videos, add the subscribe button, and more, exactly how you would do when you're uploading a regular VOD video. Now, once your live stream is over, consider featuring it as your channel trailer on your main page in order for new subscribers to gain easy access to your stream. We always suggest this to anyone live streaming at the space, since live streams can sometimes be tricky to find on your page. You can also create highlights from your live content. I touched on this a bit earlier, but creating highlights is a great way to offer content to new subscribers to get just a taste of what you're all about. Lastly, publish the live stream as a VOD so fans can continue enjoying your content. If you guys have any questions, just keep dropping them in Slido. Samir's going to ask them at the end, but otherwise I'm going to pass it over to Hugo so that he can go over making money on live streams.
Thanks, Alex. Once again, my name is Hugo, and I'll go over revenue opportunities that go well with live streams. Remember, this applies to everyone who's already eligible for monetization. First, we'll talk about super chats and super stickers, which allow viewers to purchase brightly colored pin chat messages or stickers during live streams and premieres. Viewers use super chats to, 1, stand out from the crowd. With this in mind, be sure to thank your viewers who send super chats via shoutouts or on-screen graphics. Also, to participate in content. Wherever possible, try to integrate the conversation into the content itself, putting viewers in the driver's seat. Finally, support what they love. Inform viewers where the money is going and let them see the results firsthand. To turn super chat or super stickers on, 1, sign into youtube.com. In the left-hand menu, you'll click monetization. In the menu at the top of the main dash, click supers, and then follow the on-screen instructions. Once you've completed all the instructions, you'll find the system enabled. Next, we'll talk a little bit about memberships. If you have an active memberships program, you can integrate some of your offerings directly into your live streams. One of the features is member-only chat. If you're a seasoned streamer, enabling member-only chat is a great way to amplify member chats while making content available and accessible to those who aren't members. Non-members can also interact by sending you super chat messages, making a great additional revenue opportunity. There are also member-only live streams, which are a great way to have a more intimate and less polished interaction with viewers. If you're not used to streaming, this can be a low-pressure way to experiment by just opening the stream to members. And finally, try offering custom badges and emojis, which allow your most loyal fans to stand out from the rest of the crowd. Consider leaning into inside jokes, memes, and visual comedy to add authenticity and value to this custom perk. Go to your monetization tab for more information and eligibility status. You should be able to find more information on memberships there and how to get started. Live streams also provide a variety of merch integrations, such as pinning merch to the top of your live chat while streaming. If we look at the example on the right, you can pin merch to the top of the live chat, providing a billboard to those viewers in the chat. Showcasing merch in the shelf below your video on demand. Those videos who aren't looking at the chat can also see your merch offerings in the merch shelf below your stream. You can also direct viewers to check out the store tab on your channel page following the end of your stream. And finally, we'll talk a little bit about YouTube Giving, which allows creators to support the charitable causes they care about. Eligible channels can fundraise for nonprofits by adding the donate button to their videos and live streams. Viewers can donate directly on the video page or in the live chat. 100% of the funds go to the nonprofit, with YouTube covering all the transaction fees. To set up this fundraiser, your channel has to meet the following requirements. The channel is located in the United States, the United Kingdom, or Canada. The channel has at least 100,000 subscribers. The channel is part of the YouTube Partner Program, and the channel is not designated as made for kids. That's all for me, folks. Throwing it back to Alex.
All right, thanks, Hugo. So we've made it to the end of the presentation. I'm going to quickly just recap some major points that we've gone over. So make the choice between desktop or mobile live streaming and then get familiar with the basics. Plan your live schedule and program out the content for your upcoming streams. Check your settings and prepare a chat plan for your future streams. Remember, custom stream keys, super important here. They'll really help you out. And then try to integrate the best live practices into your content and have a plan for archiving streams once completed. Sending it over to Samir.
All right. Thanks, Alex. And thank you to the rest of our instructors today. Like we've been mentioning, it is time for the Q&A. So I know a lot of you guys are familiar with Slido already. You've gotten a lot of questions in there. We've got a lot of upvotes. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get to our first question. We're going to start with our most upvoted. I know Alex touched on this a little bit, but I think it's worth revisiting. Can I get a copyright strike in a live stream video, Harry asked.
Yes, you can. So you can definitely get a copyright strike. Also, as I mentioned, it can be torn down midstream. So please do not put copyrighted music. And also, how I mentioned, be mindful of any copyrighted music around you. Because if you're just at a restaurant or something like that and they're playing music over the speakers, that could get flagged.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for that great question, Harry. Let's just take a look at our next most uploaded. How do I add graphics, music, sound effects, and more in a live stream while streaming games without showing my face or voice to viewers?
Chris, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I could take that. Well, that goes into what we were talking about earlier when I mentioned encoders. That's where you'll, so you want to use something like maybe a Stage 10 or Streamlabs. Those are pretty good for that, adding graphics, music. It's sound effects. You may want to look more into Wirecast with that. But what's really good about a lot of these encoders is that you can set up a template. If you don't want to show your face, you just want to show the game or whatever graphics you have, those encoders are really good. But definitely do your research. But the encoders that we showed earlier definitely will help you definitely set you on the right track to getting all that done.
Yeah, and really, like when you're utilizing encoding software, it's really your world. You can add whatever input you want. You can take out whatever input you want. You can add in as many camera angles, and if you don't want to show your face, you can take those cameras out. You don't even have to have a microphone on or anything like that. So it's really just your world.
Exactly.
We're pushing a little bit against the time, so I'm going to try and get through this next batch of questions quickly, but bear with us. Next question is, can I live stream using mobile phone Android?
Yeah, so you can really, as long as your phone has access to a YouTube app, you are able to actually live stream from whichever device you would like. A cool thing about Android is you could actually live stream and screen share your phone utilizing an Android device, which is actually a really cool feature that they have on those mobile phones.
Oh, that's awesome. That actually answers another question we had from someone else. Our next question is, can I stream on multiple platforms at once?
Yes. So with that, that's again another feature that you can find in one of our encoders. Like I mentioned, Stage 10 does have that, where you can stream to multiple platforms. But just do be aware that some of these encoders do come at a fee. So like I said, with Stage 10, there is a subscription. But yes, the answer is yes, you can stream to multiple platforms.
Awesome. Here's a good one. Can I live stream from my desktop using an external camera?
Yes. Oh, Chris, you want to go?
No. So basically, yeah, that's what, to go off what Dylan said earlier, when it comes to encoders, that's why those softwares are so great, because it really extends the use of just a normal desktop. You can add cameras, multiple cameras. But just do be mindful of the cameras that you are using, because Some require plugin, like Canons require certain Canons. You have to download a plugin, and with other cameras, there are no plugins, but you would need to buy something that's called a capture card, which I believe Dylan mentioned earlier, and that would basically allow you to use your external camera as your webcam. You could find that there's various prices on them, but one to mention is like Elgato, things like that. You can do your research. They're pretty easy to find nowadays.
Yeah, and you also don't even need to go as far as to utilize an external software for in this case scenario. So like I mentioned a little bit earlier on, if you are streaming from your desktop and you do select that webcam streaming option as well, you would be able to select the different camera inputs. So if you wanted to use your onboard camera, you would be able to do that. But then in that drop-down menu, you do have the option to, like Chris said, utilize an external webcam in tandem with a capture card. So you don't even have to splurge and buy a external or a third-party software. You can also just go live straight from your camera, from your desktop.
Oh, that's awesome. I have another question here regarding encoders, and we're only going to do just a handful of more questions, so bear with us, and then we'll have a couple more avenues for you guys to get info. Don't worry. But this next question is best encoder for using for a music live stream.
I would say Wirecast, because that does give you a bit more audio capabilities. So, like I said before, adding effects, EQing, things like that. That software, that encoder, does allow you to have a bit more capabilities when it comes to music.
Awesome. And I think we can maybe close on this question, and it's just an opportunity for any of you guys to share any best practices. But Drogless Ion asked, never made a live and feeling a bit uncomfy to do it, mostly because of being afraid it would be too boring or I say something wrong. Editing helps helps a lot when showing only the essential info without the dead space. But is there any time or any tips for a first-time live streamer?
Yeah, so I mean, this is the first time, like I said earlier in the presentation, that I've ever been on this side of the camera. And trust me, I understand that it is a little bit nerve-wracking, and you don't know if you're going to slip up on your words, if something is going to go wrong. When I was doing a rehearsal, my camera and everything froze. But it happens. That's why you have you have a lot of options to go with when you actually are live streaming. So one, like I said earlier on, there's that option to have an unlisted stream. So if you aren't actually like a seasoned vet, you haven't done this, you don't have experience in front of the camera, you can actually go live with that unlisted link and only send it to some of your friends, some of your family. They can actually take a look at it, let you know what you're doing right, and they can give you some tips on your actual live stream. That takes a lot of pressure off of you, and you don't have to worry about so many people actually seeing your live stream. Another cool thing, like I said a little bit earlier, I think it's really important when you are live streaming to actually have content in place that you are going to follow on your stream. I wouldn't recommend just setting up a camera or setting up your webcam and just going live. I think you really have to have something in mind that you are going to talk about and something to fall back on just in case there is, like you said, that dead space. Like I talked about a little earlier on with a creator, maybe watching some of his old videos that he's uploaded, content that he or she owns, and they could actually watch that with some of their subscribers or their fans, and then really just make it fun that way. I think the real key is just to have fun with it. So many people, no one just hops onto live and they're really perfect at it. So many people have a full journey of having their beginning streams, and I'm sure that if you look at really successful creators right now, if you look at their first live streams, they're going to be completely unrecognizable, and they just learn along the way. So yeah,
that's great advice. I think usually some good advice that applies to a lot of channels is you know your audience best, and they're usually understanding. They understand that it's a different setting and you're dealing with it. I think that's a great place to put a pin in it for today's workshop. I want to thank all of our instructors today, and I especially want to thank you guys for joining us. I do have a couple more resources, so hang on. Trust me, you're going to like this. But for those of you who didn't get your questions answered today, I want to thank you for providing those. It's great context for us in the future. And if you want any more info, I want to point you again, like I did at the top of today's workshop, to the Creator Academy. If you just search Creator Academy on YouTube, you'll find a lot of resources about live streaming and any other production resources or YouTube resources. Like you guys see right here, we do have a quick survey. Please take the time to scan that QR code or put in that URL address, or the link is right now in the YouTube live stream chat. Please fill that out. It's great info for us for our future workshops. And like I said, we do have more resources. If you go to that youtube.com/spaces/online, you'll find all of our other workshops, our live streams, our in-house workshops, which are a lot of the same content, but just smaller groups, so that you guys can really get in there if you have any specific questions. It's a great resource. We have a newsletter, so sign up for that, and that'll keep you guys in the loop on what's coming up. And then most importantly, we do have some perks that are available to YouTube creators. If you go to that website, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see those perks. And for those of you who fill out today's survey, you will also receive a code for Stage 10. For those creators that do apply, over 10,000 subscribers, you will receive a code as well on behalf of YouTube and our partners. And I just want to thank you guys. I'm going to thank our instructors one more time. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your morning or afternoon or night, wherever you guys are joining us from. Have a great one, guys. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks.